In this video, we're going to have a look at the absolutely stunning Polestar 3 from 2025, this being the top of the line with the performance package, 517 horsepower. I'm going to make a case as to why this is in fact the best looking SUV EV for 2025, scientifically proven in Photoshop. We're going to have a look at the front end, go through the side view, the rear, the beautiful minimalist interior before we take this for a drive. But before we do any of that, let's have a look at what this is powered by. Some of the spec in tech here with this Thunder Metallic 2025 Polestar 3. So we have dual motors, dual E-motors, of course, 517 horsepower, 671 pound-feet of torque. You got 111 kilowatt-hour battery pack, all-wheel drive thanks to the dual motors. 0 to 60 takes 3.8 seconds. Top speed 130 miles per hour. Range comes out, this being the top of the line with the fat 295 millimeter rear tires, just unheard of from a Swedish company. You got 279 miles for this one. Price comes out at $93,100. You do have 250 kilowatt fast charging. If you want more range, all you got to do is just pick a different spec. For example, the single motor rear wheel drive comes with 350 miles and 300 horsepower, or you can go for the non-performance dual motor, gives you 315 miles, 489 horsepower. So with that said, let's jump straight in because I cannot wait to talk to you about this beautiful Scandinavian design that is the Polestar 3. I am 100% convinced that Daniel Simon had something to do with this design right here, because this to me looks like a vehicle that came straight out of Oblivion, the movie, or Tron Legacy, the series. The chiselness that we have going on here is just, to me, it's one of the best looking EVs on sale today. And of course, Polestar becoming a separated brand in 2017, separated from the mother company Volvo. You can definitely see the Volvo influences here with the Thor's hammer headlight right here, full LED headlights. We have the stunning 22-inch wheels, over 500 horsepower in this 2025 Polestar 3, this being the dual motor with over 500 horsepower. And to me, hearing these numbers from a company that comes from Sweden, or is, I know it's not a Swedish company anymore, it's owned by China these days, but to me, Volvo and Polestar is always going to be Swedish to me. Hearing these numbers, 22-inch wheels, 295 millimeter wide tires in the back, over 500 horsepower, it's just crazy to me to think about. And it comes wrapped in this stunning design here. So what we're going to do in this video is obviously talk about this design from front, side, and rear, and also the minimalist interior that we have. Before we're going to take this for a drive, I'm going to show you exactly how quick this thing is. Let me first show you why I think the Polestar 3 is just the best looking EV SUV on the market today. Starting with the iX, which is just a mess. I really don't have anything else to say about the iX. The graphics, proportions, everything just looks like it came from 10 different cars. Then we have the EQE SUV, which to me introduced the bubble design. I think maybe Tesla Model X introduced the bubble design before that, but at least we have a couple of sharp lines in the EQE SUV. And we also have a pretty nice looking shoulder over the rear axle, looking pretty tight, planting the car nicely on the ground. I think even more bubble design is the Model X. That has a, if you look at the roofline and how it dips down, it never comes back up, creating this dome on top of the vehicle. I also think the wheelbase looks a little too tight and too short. And then we come into the Polestar 3, where everything is just nailed when it comes to both the graphics, the plantedness of the vehicle, and also the movement forward. Because look at all the key graphics we have sitting above the rear axle, creating this weight and movement moving forward for the Polestar 3. And that is indeed the simple reason why I think the Polestar 3 is the best looking EV SUV on the market today. Starting with the front end design of this Polestar 3 here, you can definitely see, as I said, this the Thor's hammer headlights here, this being full LED headlights. They actually turn with the steering wheel. If you turn right, the headlight, you're going to see the headlight being turning right, sort of around the corner. The same goes for the left. You have the smart zone right here in the middle, which has all the sensors, all the cameras, all the radars, stuff like that. So when it's wintry outside, when it's snowing heavily in Sweden, for example, it's dark and cold, you don't want this to freeze up because that's going to mess up all the sensors and the radar. So what Polestar did, they actually made this part heated. So this is never going to be covered in snow or ice or anything like that, which is great to see because you actually have the front camera located right there. You have Polestar engineered in this small little white square. And the coolest thing about this front end is, check this out. This slot right here, it's actually a integrated front wing. Ferrari Pista style going on here. You have air flowing in under here, shooting up top on the hood to create some downforce in the front end. When you go at the top speed of 130 miles per hour, you're going to drain the battery very fast, obviously. But once you're there, as long as you're at the top speed, you're still going to have some downforce with this Polestar 3. Now check out all the chiseledness that we have going on here. This line coming from the top, connecting to the corner of the grille and the corner of the headlight here. We have the full opening for the battery cooling in the grille in the lower section with this gloss plastic. We have some unpainted plastic right here, black graphic. And we have the parking sensors integrated in the lower section as well. Then we have this interesting graphic. I do wish we had some opening here to create more of an airflow in this area. And on top of that, we have the Polestar logo, in this case being body colored up here. You can see these logos right here. This is actually the Polestar logo in the same color as the rest of the vehicle. Let me know what you think about this front face. To me, it still says a lot of Volvo in here, and it still gives Polestar a pretty clear brand identity, in my opinion. Now, I just wanted to show you this front intake from a different angle. Here you can clearly see how hollowed out this area is. I think this piece, this wing up here, is one of the coolest features I've ever seen on an EV, in addition to the chiseledness that we have with the muscle over the front axle. So I think overall, I mean, the front end of this car just screams Daniel Simon to me. And that's not a bad thing because his designs are some of my favorite designs in modern time when it comes to automotive design. This is a great example of when you have the right size of wheel and tire setup on a vehicle, how that completely transforms the overall vibe of the vehicle. And that goes for this Polestar 3 as well. We have massive, I mean, look at the width of the front tires. Let's see what we got. We got P0 22-inch wheels, and the size for these tires are 265mm wide tires. We have 295s. We also have the golden caliper here, 15.7-inch rotor in the front, so you got plenty of power, stopping power with the performance pack. We have some black cladding going around here and also in the lower section, in addition to this chrome piece that goes all the way down here. Now, as you can see, the car is unlocked, meaning that the door handles actually stick out like this. When you're setting off, they're going to fold back in very smoothly. But look at the proportions of this vehicle. It is the reason why I think this is one of the best looking EVs on sale today. The swooping roofline that we have going across here, the blacked out graphic around the greenhouse itself. You have this line going down into a rear spoiler and the muscle over the rear axle. To me, I think Polestar absolutely nailed this design when it comes to the styling and the surface treatment and specifically the proportions, because this is not an EV that has these weird bubble proportions to it, and also the rear axle does not sit all the way back like it does in a lot of other EVs. This look absolutely stunning. Another reason why I'm a huge fan of this vehicle is if you look at the wheel design here, yes, we do have some black going on here, but it doesn't matter because what they did, they emphasized some gray here, or some almost chrome-like. It's a very mirror-like finish. These are gorgeous looking wheels to me because it looks very simple, but if you come in and look at the details, it's a very complex design for the wheel design. I also like that we have the caps here being the same golden color as the calipers that we have on the inside. My absolute favorite area of design when it comes to the Polestar 3 is going to be this section right here that we're zoomed in on right now, because the reason being, we have a lot of chamfers coming back in this design. We have a chamfer going right here around this graphic. We have a chamfer up top in this area as well. Nice sculpted surface right here with the muscle shooting into a shoulder line right there. The only thing I'm not so sure about when it comes to the exterior design are these pieces. I'm not sure why Polestar put this piece, it doesn't have any functionality to it. I just want to take this and rip this off and have this be a smooth surface area right here. But I do like the thin taillights that we're going to have a look at in just a minute. We also have the parking sensors integrated along the lower section here. But this area, how the roofline swoops down like this into this beautiful spoiler in the back, is definitely a beautiful piece of art that if we just zoom in on this, make this a square photo, something that I would have hanging up in my office. Now, if you look at the rear end, I'm not going to say that this is my favorite view for this vehicle, the 3/4 rear end, because honestly, I think this is very strange for me to say, but I think the side view in this case is my favorite view. And I've never said that ever about an EV, because I always thought that the EV proportions these days just are wild and crazy. But you can see this is hollow up top, so I can stick my hand down here, this wing going down from the roofline, hollowed out, similar styling to what we have in the front. And you also have a brake lights LED all the way up here. This is something I definitely want to rip this off as well, because I think this just ruins the overall cleanliness of this design. Have it hidden up here somewhere or something like that, because this is a massive roof spoiler. But look at the graphics of the taillight. We have a nice full LED light bar. Of course, trend of the decade, but it's very thin, a little thicker on the end pieces here, with a full LED indicator here as well. And you can see just how strange these pieces look in the rear end. This is definitely something I don't understand why Polestar added these pieces onto this design. Definitely something that I would want to change in this rear end. Now, looking at the Polestar 3 from a straight rear view as we're doing right now, here you can see just how planted this is. I mean, 295mm wide tires on this beast. Yes, it's going to affect the range, of course, having this performance package with the upgraded 22-inch wheels and these 295 tires, but I don't care because it looks so good. And same goes for the roofline. A lot of people say that they could have raised up the roofline a little bit to have more space, because you have more luggage space in a RAV4 than you have in this one. Again, do I care? Absolutely not, because it looks so much better having that sloping roofline that we have in this vehicle. And that is sometimes, I mean, most of the time, if I have a great car design, I'm willing to sacrifice some practicality, functionality for a beautiful design. And that is the case with the Polestar 3. You can see we have the black cladding here in the lower section again with the parking sensors integrated right there. And I'm going to show you the trunk space in this case and how you can open up the, almost like an iPad cover. Let's open up the trunk and let me show you what's going on inside here. We have a power assisted opening, obviously, for $93,000. That is exactly what you want to have. You have some netting here on the side. You can also fold this up. This is a very interesting design because you have these ridges on the side, so you can have it be a separation like this, which is great to see. For example, if you have groceries and stuff like that, you can have them in the front end of this area and not have them roll around in the back. And down here, you have a deep storage space. You can also raise and lower the vehicle right here, in addition to a 12-volt cigarette outlet right there. This is great Swedish design. When you have the separation with this thing right here, you can have it in several different layouts and have it be exactly what you want. You can also fold down the rear seats by pressing or pulling this button right here, and the fold down seat, and it creates a pretty shallow, or pretty flat space for the floor of the back of the rear end. Even though, as I said, it's not the biggest storage space in the class, but also, like I mentioned before, I really don't care. Now, a lot of vehicles, specifically EVs today, they don't have a frunk, and that is because a lot of EVs are both supposed to be an internal combustion engine and an EV, making it a little hard to make a frunk here. But in this case, we do have a frunk, and it also comes with a separation in the middle. So you have two different storage spaces here. It's not the biggest space. I think it's 1.1 cubic feet of space down here, but at least you do have a small frunk in the front end. Let's step in and have a look at the interior of the 2025 Polestar 3 dual motor with the performance pack. The first thing you're going to notice is just how minimalist this interior actually is. There's really not a lot going on here. The build quality is great, though. We have this fabric leather. I'm not sure what material this is. It feels almost like fabric / plastic. Everything is recycled in here. You have 25 speaker system with the Bowers & Wilkins systems right here. You have Bowers & Wilkins right here as well. This actually looks to be a speaker cover up here. We also have the speaker all the way down here. Now look at this. You only have 2 buttons for the windows. So how do you fold down or roll down the rear windows? All you got to do is just press this button right here, and now you can see that it switches from front. I'm not sure you can see the LEDs right next to it. Now we're in the front, right there. If we press this button once, it's gonna go back to the rear. Now you can actually roll down the rear windows, which is pretty, I mean, that just adds to the minimalist design here. You can see the door handle, just how small it is in the front end. You have some storage in the lower section here as well. Polestar, when you're jumping in, beautiful seats with this text right here, 100% traced leather, animal welfare secured with these seats. So no animal products in this. You have heated and ventilated front seats, in addition to 5 types of massages for the front seats as well. Some of the most comfortable seats I've ever sat in. So let's jump in here. And let's turn on the fan so I don't die of overheating in here, because it is very, very hot today. We have this 14.7, I do believe, this infotainment screen system, the size of it. The integration, I mean, it's not the best integration, to be honest, because just look at how it just cuts through all of these creases that we have. It doesn't flow with anything in the interior, but it feels like it just sits in the middle of the air. No connections whatsoever. It's just floating there in the center of the interior. Now, this system itself is very nice. You have Apple CarPlay, finally a Volvo product with wireless Apple CarPlay. This actually did not come with that from the start. That was an over-the-air update that they now have for the Polestar 3, something that you want to have for $93,000, obviously. And you also have the Google Assistant, the Google Map here, which is very responsive, so you don't necessarily need Apple CarPlay. I mean, you can use Spotify if you want to. You can just connect it with Bluetooth and still use the Google Maps. You can also have the map come up here. If we press these buttons right here, for example, you see Google Maps popping up right there in the 10-inch small little tiny gauge cluster that we have behind the steering wheel. Now, going back to this infotainment screen, we have all these settings here. For example, all the apps, YouTube, Apple CarPlay, settings, Google Assistant. You can go into settings, and here's where you change the drive modes. You can change the creep mode if you want to have creep when you're letting off the gas or the brake, I mean, or traction control in sport mode or on. You have the raised suspension up to 10.8, I do believe, inches of ground clearance in this vehicle. Power delivery, range, or performance. You have the steering feel, firm, standard, light suspension feel as well, or one-pedal driving settings here. This is a great one-pedal driving system because it actually allows you to let off the accelerator, and it definitely slows down pretty quick to a complete stop. I love to see that in every single EV. We have that here as well. And we have a bunch of other settings here in addition to the drive modes. We have shortcuts. You can open the glove box right there. You don't actually have a handle for it, so you have to go in and do that right here, which is pretty annoying, to be honest. You can open the trunk, light settings, driver adjustments, range sensitivity as well. You have performance button there. If you want to have more of a performance setting for your vehicle, all you got to do is press this button at the lower settings. You can go into settings here as well. We can go into controls and check this out. This is probably something you're only going to change once, but if you want to adjust the steering wheel position, click this, and you actually use these buttons right here to go up and down with the steering wheel, or tilting and telescoping as well with these buttons right here. So pretty easy to figure that out. Same goes for the side mirrors. And one cool thing about side mirrors, if you look at the, now we're going to adjust the left side mirror with these controls here, as you can see here, but the entire housing for the side mirror is actually moving around. It's not just the sort of the glass panel, it's the entire mirror itself rotates on its arm, which is pretty cool to see. I also like that it's frameless, looking very, very clean. You can do the same, of course, for the right side right there. So this system, to me, works very well. It takes a while to get used to, but it's not too bad. What I do wish we had is just, you know what I'm going to say, controls for the climate settings down here. Instead, we have them located in here. Fan speed, auto. You can see where the air blows out from. Thankfully, you still have analog toggles for the airflow, so you don't have to go in and do that inside here, which we have on a lot of other EVs. Same goes for the temp controls and the heated steering wheel. You have heated and ventilated steering wheel. We can turn the ventilation of the steering wheel on here and see if it actually works. Heated steering wheel in 3 different levels. Actually, this is the ventilation, of course, obviously down here. I do wish we had a little bit more physical buttons for the climate settings. Up top, we have a head-up display. Premium feel for this material up here. And look at how beautifully integrated this speaker is in the center portion of the dash. It feels like it's just floating in between these 2 wings that we have on the side, looking beautiful. We have solid proper wood material in here as well, with this very minimalist styling overall with these two horizontal lines, where in between you have all these vents going on. We have wireless charging pad here. You have some more storage under this area. You can fold this out and probably store your phone there or something like that. 2 USB-Cs, and you have more storage all the way down here, in addition to this beautiful volume knob. You can see that these pieces inside there are actually raised up, and around them you have a small, tiny, thin LED underneath this glass surface. Details like that, man, is just something that I definitely appreciate myself. But you can see that we also have gloss black here, something that I'm not a fan of. You can already see all the fingerprints that goes on here. 2 cup holders. This is what the key looks like. It's actually not a key. Instead, it's a key card, similar to what we have in Tesla. Just place it here and fire up the vehicle. 2 cup holders, and we have more storage underneath this area. Pretty deep storage. I mean, this is how far down it goes. This is the LED down there for the storage compartment underneath. Feels pretty soft up top, a little softer than we have in the Volvos. That's good to see that they improved the softness of the armrest. Now, looking at the seats here, nice bolstering on the seats, heated ventilated massaging seats. I forgot to mention that you have this button. Let me show you this button right here. You press this, and then it's going to show up on the infotainment screen. You have 5 different settings for the massage. A, B, C, D, or E. Speed, intensity. Let's start firing this up. And you can feel it starting to work its magic in the seat itself. Usually, doesn't really massage you that well, because it can't give you enough force. But it's a cool thing to have, I guess, in a almost $100,000 vehicle. Now, looking at the gauge cluster, as I said, you can customize this to have it be a little bit different layouts here. For example, we can have the Google Maps fully integrated like this. And honestly, I don't think you need a bigger one than a 10-inch screen. This looks fine to me, even though, yes, I wish we had it better integrated with a bit of a housing for it. But at least we do have a gauge cluster behind the steering wheel. Here you have the gear selector or the drive modes. You put it into reverse, going to pop up the 360 camera. You have the 3D camera here as well. You can rotate it in any angle that you want and see exactly where the wheel is positioned, looking beautiful. You can also have the full rear camera right there, and the front camera. You can check that out as well. So you have a bunch of different cameras here that shows you exactly, of course, where the car is positioned. Press this P to go back into park, and we also have the drive. Just toggle it down like that, going back into park, pressing it again. Now, looking at the steering wheel, nice design, very minimalistic design, small-looking steering wheel. We have a Polestar logo in the middle. These controls, touch controls for the gauge cluster, and also to control the mirror and the seat position, the steering wheel position. We have the third spoke down here. Beautiful design overall. This looks like a sketch to me with all the chamfers, and I can tell that the designers had fun designing this steering wheel, because it is a beautiful looking design and very comfortable to grab as well. Up top, and we do have this full panoramic sunroof with reinforced glass. I wish we could have this be frosted, because now you can see it's completely clear. It is dark tinted though. Polestar said they did not want to have a cover for it because that would intrude on the overall headspace, of course, if you're going to have an additional cover here. Well, let's jump into the back seat. Again, just look at these beautiful proportions. And as you can see, I'm not going to have any problems at all sitting back here, because we do have a massive wheelbase still, even though the rear axle does not sit all the way back and creating weird proportions. Jumping in here, plenty of leg space. I mean, I have so much space back here. There's really nothing to complain about, in my opinion. You do have a small little LED up here. If you want to turn that on, you can do that. And we have leg space right here, looking beautiful. The third zone climate settings are located here. You have heated seats in the back, not ventilated seats. I would like to see that in this price range. 2 USB-Cs in the lower section, and we also have, of course, cup holders. If we fold down this and pop this open, you can see cup holders right there, looking very, very nice. And I like this spec with the thunder blue exterior, and then we have this cream interior with the two-tone seats. You have the same text that you have in the front end as well here in the back. Just looks beautiful. Bowers & Wilkins integrated in the headrest, as you can see. So with that said, we talked about the exterior design, the interior design, and now it's time to take this Polestar 3 for a drive. And let me show you just how quick this thing is. Before we set off here, let's make sure everything is in the sportiest setting. Performance firm, steering firm. one pedal driving standard, and we also have it in the performance setting right here. Good, so everything is set to performance. So let's take this for a drive and let me show you how quick this 2025 Polestar 3 dual motor with a performance pack, which is, by the way, a $5,000 option. The only negative thing about that is the range drops to 279 miles. If you go for the dual motor non-performance, you get about 315 miles. If you want to have the most range you can get out of a Polestar 3, you want to go with the single motor rear wheel drive that has just under 299 horsepower. So it's not fast at all, but I don't think, maybe not a lot of people care about this 0 to 60 times. With that one, you get 350 miles. So that's a huge boost over this one. But for me, even if I go with a single motor, I would still have to charge for a long time. So personally, I would still go with this one, the performance package, just because of the looks of it, the 22-inch wheels and all of that, just looking absolutely beautiful. And that is what I personally want, because I think these wheels just take this design to a whole another level. 517 horsepower in this, 0 to 60 in under 4 seconds. It weighs about 5,700 pounds, this vehicle. So it's not a lightweight, but no EV really is, because you do have the battery pack. So let's come on to this road. Let's step on, let's go. And we're up to 60 there, and that was uphill. So, I mean, it is a very, very fast vehicle for sure. But obviously, when you floor it like that, it's going to affect the range. So you're going to have to charge this quite a lot. And I have it charged in my garage. Every time I park it, I just plug it in, because why not? I'm going to, whenever I take it for a drive the next time, it's going to have a little bit more charge. Not a lot, because I'm just using a house outlet, but I've charged it fully. Takes about maybe 24 hours or so to charge it fully from about 75% or something like that. But for my problem with EVs still, they are so comfortable. They're so, I mean, they are fun to drive. You get this instant torque. But the thing about EVs, I always have this thought that I can never really enjoy it on a long road trip, because I don't really want to spend 30 minutes charging, every 2 hours or so. And specifically if we're going on the highway, the range is obviously going to drop a lot faster, because you don't have any regen braking. City driving for EVs is great. You get a lot more range driving in the city than you do in the highways. And that's a shame, because this car, to me, is so comfortable. We can even turn on the, let's see, the button right here. Turn on the massage seats right there. Let's turn it on to 3, all the levels. And let's do D, lower back. We have combined. Let's do combined and start that up. See what that, there we go. Starting to feel the needs in the backrest. Feels pretty good, I guess. The ventilated seats, same thing here as with pretty much every ventilated seat I've tested. They don't really do a lot. It's still very hot. So I don't know. Ventilated seats is not something I would pay extra for with today's technology for sure, because it feels like they don't really do anything. Let's floor it again here. There we go. It is instant torque. It definitely pushes pushes you back into the seats when you're flooring it. I have 79% of battery life, and it says that equates 160 miles of range. So yeah, if you're buying a Polestar 3 for the range, you might want to consider not getting the $5,000 performance pack and just go with the regular door motor with 315 miles of range, or go with a single motor. And if you don't really care about speed and acceleration, and you get 350 miles of range. The steering feel feels nice. It is in the firmest setting, and even if I have the suspension in the firmest setting right now, it really does not feel too firm. I mean, I'm not complaining at all. Let's put it into, let's see what it does when we put it into, let's go into settings here. Suspension feels standard. And steering feel light. Let's see what that does. Oh yeah, steering got almost, uncomfortably light. Don't really like the super light steering that we have right now. I could probably steer it with one finger. So I'm gonna go back to firm. I like the firm steering feel for the steering wheel. It just makes it feel like a more solid driving experience. The suspension, I didn't really feel any difference, even though it was a very short drive there. I'm gonna keep it in standard for now and see how it does on the highway. Coming on to the on-ramp, you know what that means. Let's go. Oh yeah, we are up to 75 there, so let's take it easy here when we merge onto the highway. Suspension definitely feels a lot softer than when you have it in firm, obviously. I mean, you wouldn't really expect anything else, but this is probably the suspension setting I would have it on if I'm going on a longer road trip. Just makes sense. Don't need it to be completely flat in the corners when we're driving up the mountains. So overall, I mean, Polestar 3 to me, I think Polestar right now, when it comes to the design, definitely, if not the best looking EVs on sale right now, definitely top 3. And that has all to do with something that is very strange to think about when you're talking about a Swedish brand. Because Swedish brands, look at the Volvo 850, the 745, the 855, and the 945s, the 245s as well. That was 100% practicality. I mean, it was essentially a box on wheels. You could draw that car with a ruler, and you have a Volvo 745 for sure. This one, though, they made a change in their design philosophy, and instead of having everything be a 100% practical, now they went with some styling features that intrudes on that practicality. And I personally love to see that. The biggest thing is the swooping, you know, the curved roofline that makes it feel so beautiful, looks so much more beautiful than all other EVs. And the second thing is they could have moved back the rear axle like we have on the Ioniq 5, looking very strange, super strange proportions. But instead they kept the rear axle at the same position as an internal combustion engine. With this roofline, it just creates a total package. For the exterior design is I would say a 8.5 out of 10. We could have had some more functionality in the front end than the graphics there, and these things that stick on the back of the bumper, not a fan of those pieces as well. I don't know what they're doing there, but other than that, the proportions is definitely a 10 out of 10 from me when it comes to this design. So well done, Polestar. And I would say go a test drive one and make up your mind how much, first of all, how much money you want to spend on one. This is not a cheap vehicle, $93,000 for this with the performance pack. And check which powertrain you want, the single motor, the dual motor, non-performance, or the dual motor performance pack. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.